So what I'm going to talk to you about is like what I captioned it is a story at the rate of e-ticketing. Because long back, 20 years back, almost 25 years back rather, I read an article, a small article where it said that I think the only way we can relate to everybody is through stories. I suppose as a child we heard stories by our grandmothers, grandfathers or the parents, and those remained with us. So I suppose there is a story in e-ticketing which in some way you all are users of that. You've been frustrated by that also at times and also enjoyed the moment which in some way or the other this system has transformed, brought a change in our life. Like I was looking at as the TEDx or TED basic theme is the ideas that bring a change. So this has been one process, one thought which has brought a change. Point towards this. Okay, thank you. So I'll give you through this what I'm not going to sort of give you what all this is about, but how this process has come about, as to how the systems evolved in government systems, particularly which are very rigid, which are very security conscious. But over the years, the systems evolve. It brings a change. Like way back in 2002, an idea came that while there are huge queues on the reservation ticketing windows at the stations and everywhere where the reservation is, but can we bring a change in this? Can people, because that's a time, in fact, though the e-commerce as we see today wasn't there, but the net was slowly picking up. And the presence was there with people started using, the internet was there of course, and people started using that for various entertainments or for various informations. That's the time when this started. But in railways as such, in the ministry, in the government, nobody was prepared to sort of take it. And this challenge was thrown to a young officer, another one, earlier officers in IRCTC, as to whether we can sort of bring this system change. Because the pressures were so much. Like if we look at the railway reservation issues, there's a huge supply-demand gap. There's a huge rush of people because, and particularly on holidays, particularly when the winter season, the holiday seasons, the low fares, there are touting activities, there are agents, there are so much of which goes on behind the scene. And so the need was felt that whether we can bring this change. And so this whole thing started. And this challenge was taken up by the officers concerned. And this whole system started. I'll just give you a glimpse of how this ticketing, that's in 2002, when people thought that you could book a ticket all right, but it could be delivered physically at your place, and that's how the tickets were booked by people, payments were made on the net, and tickets were physically delivered, couriered to people at their homes. Subsequently, in 2005, by that time, because again a decision making process, how can somebody travel on a ticket which is not on a proper stationery, it's not on a security paper? That decision itself took almost 3 years, and that's how in 2005 you came with a paper ticket, which was like you could take a printout at your homes and you could travel on that with your ID of course. And that's how the e-ticketing concept came. And then this courier thing changed to people taking their own printouts and traveling on that. And in fact, till before 2008, this was only reached a level of almost 40,000 tickets per day, against like total tickets per day or total passengers reservation seats are of the order of about 10 lakh, or that time about 8 lakhs, and it had reached only 40,000. So a need was felt that now the internet penetration is so poor. I mean, everybody doesn't have access, and common man, so many people traveling on the Indian Railways do not have access to the net. How do they travel? How do they book their tickets on the net? And therefore, the basically the process of agent booking started. And gradually over from 2005-6 onward to 2008, almost 1.5 lakh authorized agents were set up all across the country. And that brought the boom. That brought the boom. Individuals became aware of the whole process, and it rose. The booking went up to 1 lakh and rose up to 4 lakh almost till 2010-11. And now, of course, it has reached up to 7 lakh. Because in between, when about 3 lakh to 4 lakh tickets were being sold in 2010, the whole system started collapsing. Because the demand was so huge, the system was built initially in 2002. There was no time to sort of change it to a better system, a new system. There were also, like, as in a setup, people started thinking that why it is only this organization which can do this, and why not somebody else who can do it. In fact, as a result, the in fact, if you look at this in July 11, the railway launched its own website. Its own portal was launched, which survived only for about 25 days. So reinventing the wheel was not necessary, but still people thought of that process. It failed, and it again came back. And subsequently, of course, the entire new system has been sort of put in place, and that's why you are reaching now a figure of 7 lakhs. So that's how you see the growth taking place in the ticketing scenario. Now, even with the, we've reached a level of almost, now of course it has gone up to 50-55%, but even with this level, there was a lot of dissatisfaction taking place. And I'll just give you some glimpse, some insight informations as to what happened, as to why the difficulties were there, because, and that's something which all of us face, a common person faces quite often, that when he goes, even on the opening day of the booking, you see that the trains are already full. Because with say 1500 stations having the PRS, the ticketing counters, people going on the net, within first 5 minutes, almost all major important trains get booked. In fact, and that's where we start saying that either there are officials who are sort of involved, there is a sale of ticket going on separately, thing like this. But this is the actual thing which happened, that within first 10 minutes, so many trains get full. Of course, that made us do a lot of initiatives for upgrading, changing the system. A lot of technical inputs were taken. I've given you a glimpse of how the system operates. Most of you are aware of that system already. But a lot of initiative went into changing the entire system and bringing it. In fact, I recall a story. One day, one Sunday afternoon, I got a call from my minister's, the then minister's office, and told me that some gentleman from Kerala had sent him an email, making a lot of sort of allegations on the system, which is, it's being sort of, in fact, though Himanshu is sitting here, I was just thinking at the time when he was talking that whether he got a chance to go to the IRCTC site, whether he was able to hack. But I mean, happily, I think he was not able to hack that site, though there were a lot of allegations that the site is being sort of misused, frauds are being committed, people are trying to adopt it to own means and taking tickets via some routes, but it never happened. I can share that with you. Because of various technical inputs which were put so that it's not able to, people are not able to misuse. So some time to time, some events did occur. There were people, stories also came out that some people had some softwares by which they could sort of do a faster booking. But those processes were only at the outside, not inside the system. They were like outside, like it's, say somebody takes 2 minutes or 5 minutes, or somebody may take 15 minutes to do the entire process of booking. That's why, and in some process, they may do it in seconds also. So that kind of thing could be there. And we also had to do a lot of auditing exercise, a lot of security audits, a lot of business process audit. Those processes had to be put in place before the system is able to deliver and give you the basic supply needs. The system which has now been put in place, and from 2014 onwards, in fact for last 1.5 years, now the system has become very, very convenient and easy to use. That's a, we call it a next generation e-ticketing system which has been put in place, and it's been a system which has been put in place at the cost of almost 100 crores. Somebody will say whether the system needs that kind of money, but systems like this, they do need this kind of money. It's almost doing transactions of 7,200 transactions per minute. That's the kind of level. It's able to sort of at one go, more than 1,20,000 concurrent users can continue to use the system and make use of that. That's the kind of system capability which has been built. We expect that the system will continue to grow at about 20%, and say by 2016-70, we should be able to have almost average ticket of about 8 lakhs per day on the system. That's the kind of, but there are of course some issues with this, whether we will be able to achieve this or not, because now system has kind of stagnated as of now. Of course, the agent network sort of proliferation in rural areas, that's something which we expect will further strengthen the system, because a lot of people who do not have access to the net can use the system and through these agents or to the other site users. This is another application. Of course, it has not somehow become very popular, but the one theme has been, one idea which has been there and which has been put in broader change is that there are a lot of people who are not having smartphones, or there are a lot of people who do not have internet access. So whether only a small SMS can give you the reservation. That system is in place. There are about 25,000 bookings which are still taking place also on this system through this process. But somehow our financial transactions are sort of complicated as of now, and as a result this system has not become popular. Otherwise this can be a game changer for a common people. The challenge of course continues, as we see every day. Even now I find that there are a lot of complaints, there are a lot of people who are still feeling. That is also because of the inherent system shortcomings, because of the less capacity, lesser trains. I mean, the demand continues to grow and we are not able to meet with the continued demand. One story also before I finally end, I would like to share as to how even in a government system, even in an organization like a public sector undertaking, ideas can bring a change. Like you are young guys starting up, going to maybe start your careers, doing entrepreneurship, startups and things like this. I recall way back in 2009, it was about 8 months into that organization that I was in. One day I just saw a small ad in a newspaper that was regarding the Commonwealth Games ticketing. And it was a small ad in a newspaper, which I had a habit of, or a good or a bad habit I have that continues, that sometimes some idea comes, you take it to your team. So I just took out that ad and went to office, called my team and sort of had a discussion with them that whether we can have this, we can do this, whether we can take it as a business challenge. And because within 20 days we had to put in tender papers, we had to sort of file the documents. We also found that there was a requirement of somebody being a part of the group who has been into ticketing in some earlier Commonwealth Games or in a Olympics and things like this. So we needed an international partner. So within 2 days, I mean, as the idea comes and if you stick by that idea, you can transform that idea into a real profitable business venture also. Within 2 days, we could enlist that there were three major players who have been part of the various previous Commonwealth Games ticketing or the Olympic ticketing. And one was in Australia, one was in Czech. So in Prague, we set up a video conferencing arrangement. We didn't have video conferencing arrangement in our office. We went out to one of the video conferencing service provider and had a 1 hour session, first with Australia and 1 hour with Prague. And that night itself, we sat down, had a session together, decided that we can go with this partner. So next day again, we had a video conference with Prague chaps and sort of decided as to how we are going to do it. In next 1 week's time, we sent 2 officers to Prague to sort of have a one-to-one consultation. And in 10 days' time, we were ready with all documentation, papers and everything. We put in tender and it was at a cost of about 19 crores. We were the lowest. We won that. The other people, the quotes were 30 crores and plus. And we still made a net profit of almost 7 crores by the end of this. So I'm saying that ideas can transform. Thank you.